what did you do right, I guess, that allows you to run your business for less than an hour a day?
Putting the systems in place.
You're like, you genuinely, you would call me, you ask me questions, you message me at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. You'd be like, George,
Yeah.
hey, I have a question about this. What do you think about this? What's your philosophy on this? I need a breakdown on this. What, like this video didn't make any sense. Can you re-explain this video to me? And
Yeah.
and you actually genuinely asked questions and you did the things, bro. You know what I mean? When you were confused, because what happens when people get confused, they stop or they just push it to the side. When you're confused, like I need to unconfuse myself. I need to know exactly like what he means and what to actually look out for. So I think that's why you reach where you are. But I want to get it from like I want to hear from like your perspective, your experience. I guess my first question for you would be like before getting into Airbnb, like what drew you to getting into the Airbnb side of the business? Like, what drew you to that?
I think it was kind of real estate in general, where me and Edward, like my business partner, had an idea like, yo, what if we bought a house just for appreciation and we
Mm,
rented it out? Then, like, we were really researching into that, and we're like, oh, you don't really make any money off that. Maybe appreciation in 10 years, but right now we're 19, 20 years old. Appreciation isn't really much. We need cash flow. So we're like, what
mm,
if we put it on Airbnb? Then the problem was, how are we going to get approved for a 400, $500,000 house? Because that's where the real money is in Airbnb high bedroom houses when we're
mm,
20 years old. And then we talked to you, and that's where the arbitrage model came in. We didn't even know that existed until
mm,
we talked to you. So
mm,
that's kind of what drew us in. And then like the path kind of changed from renting to Airbnb, a house we own, to going into arbitrage, right? It felt
mm,
a bit scarier because, like, hey, if this doesn't work, then I'm paying rent for a year to someone and I'm not making any money. At least if I have a house, I can technically rent it out and kind of recoup my losses. I could
mm.
sublet the house and rent it, but it just felt a bit riskier and it felt like the only option. But I mean, no risk, no reward. So it kind of had to be done, right? I was already too far in.
Yeah. No. Okay. No, that makes sense, man. And then what are some things that you kind of learned going through the process that made you realize this is actually like maybe not as hard as I thought it was, or this is actually possible? That makes sense.
Actually possible when I finally found the right house. I was searching for a while, to be honest, and part of that is on me because the training and what I was looking for was completely different at the start. Like
Mhm.
I was just like putting in the most broad searches and just looking at every single house on Rent Faster under a certain price and just throwing it into what's that thing called? B&B Labs or like AirDNA.
Yeah.
AirDNA, just throwing it into AirDNA, and all of them would suck because I was literally looking at every single house. In hindsight, very stupid and tedious.
Yeah.
But then when I started targeting and then looking at certain locations and doing what was said in the training, I found that 130K property within 5 minutes of that call. And I was like, the Airbnb man strikes again. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So it felt much easier once I started finding the right properties and even calling the right properties, bro. Remember, I was scared shitless.
Yeah.
And then I realized, bro, if this guy says no, who really gives a fuck? Yeah, I can hear you now.
I said the monument, like my perspective watching you like grow and learn. I think the one of the very big monumental shifts was when we had that call where you were trying to talk to landlords, and I want you to talk about that when you were trying to talk to landlords and they were all saying no, and
Hmm.
then you had like a call over the phone. It was kind of blurry as well. I was literally in the middle
Hmm.
of like a coffee shop. We had this
Yeah.
call, and I literally walked you through exactly like what to say, and we
Once.
had a. I'll give you a minute. Yeah, and then I walked you through like what to say, and we even did like a mock call. Walk me through your experience with that from your perspective on like what you're going through before, when you're getting all these no's after a call, and what happened afterwards.
I feel like the reason my calls were not good, it's because whenever there would be some sort of objection, I genuinely wouldn't know what to say, right? But with Airbnb, it was like I knew in the back of my head that even when I'm saying, "Hey, I'm gonna take beautiful care of your property," I've never done this before, so I didn't truly know. Then I saw your call, and it's like you can see or you can hear the conviction through the voice without even meeting the person. And
Mm-hmm.
if I was convinced and I don't even have a house, I knew if I did that exact same thing, someone else would be convinced when they have a house.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, the calls went from like 10% yeses, and those 10% were like 3 out of 10 properties
Yeah.
to like 80%, like
Really.
almost immediately. The script should be started as like 100%. Then once you're good enough, you use it as like the bare bones. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that's what I was talking about initially because I remember, I vividly remember the call. We had that mock call, and then I think what happened is you followed the script with the conviction. You kind of understood what the script was talking about, and then you just went off. And that's what I tell everyone. Like the script isn't going to be your Bible, right? But it's going to be your blueprint. Once you have that blueprint, you can then it's kind of like learning how to skate. You
Yeah.
do the right things first, you learn it, and you follow those steps, and then once you have it, you do whatever you want. But because you have the foundations right,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then talk to me about how it's kind of going now. When
And
did you
then
like double down and say, okay, now I'm gonna begin? When
this
was that?
early December
And when did you get your listing?
listing, I got it January 13th. It was up January 28th.
So in December, you said, okay, now I'm ready to push. Because remember that
Hmm.
text, and now I'm ready to push. And then was it like beginning of December, or like after Christmas?
It was near the beginning because December 13th I went to look at a few properties, and none of them I could confidently say that like this is the one.
So December 13th, so about January 13th, and then January. When did you get your lease signed?
Um, I put down the deposit on the 13th just to have early access, and then I signed it a few days after the listing was ready to go, so early February. I think no, last day of January.
As of January. And then when did you have your Airbnb listing up on Airbnb?
The ooh, very late January or like the first day of February. So it was like almost I think it was the day before the lease was signed.
Yeah, I think so. And then when did you get your first booking?
That week or like the first person staying or the first booking, it could be like 10 months from now.
The first booking. Let's talk about the first
First
booking.
booking the next day. It wasn't the first. The first day I was scared shitless because you sent me this meme where it was like when I put my listing up and in 10 minutes I got $7,000 worth of bookings. Like I was expecting that. The first
Mhm,
day I get nothing. I'm like, oh shit, I'm cooked, bro. I'm cooked.
mhm.
And then the next day I got like two, and then after that it started flowing in pretty consistently.
Walk me through that, bro. Like, how much were the bookings that you were getting? Because you're messaging me like almost every 3 days. Yo, I just got a this $1,000 week. I just got a this
Yeah.
thousand. So like, what did it look like from your perspective, going from like getting listing up 24 hours in? By the way, when you take your listing up on Airbnb, it takes 24 hours before they actually process and load. So nobody
Yeah.
probably even
I know that. I
that.
know that now.
Yeah.
So I was like,
But
yo, no one's booking my place, bro, but it looks active when I sent someone the link.
mhm. Yeah, that's the thing with Airbnb. But how much were your first couple of like actual bookings? Like not the like it could have been in December, it could have been next year. But how
Mhm.
much were you kind of making? Because I got that text and I want to ask you like what you were seeing on your end.
Honestly, it was a lot of the bookings were February bookings, some March, but very minimal. They were around 200-ish a night. Then like the whales started coming in, like June
Mm,
26 to 29, $2,000.
mhm,
All of Stampede is booked. So from July 1st to July 14, it's completely booked out. That's like a $14,000 like booking span from like a few guests right there. Those started coming in. And
mhm,
those started coming in like February. It's like, and I just got a booking today actually, September 13th to September 16th.
mhm,
So it's not like millions of dollars, right? But it's consistently cash flowing, and I wake up to bookings for days that like I'm not even thinking about right now, like September 13 to 16. It's April.
yeah, that's so funny. That's sick. That's
So,
the thing I like about Airbnb.
like if I was staying somewhere in September 13, I would book it on September 12th, bro. I don't know what people are doing, bro.
Yeah, and quick tip, bro. You and this is what this is. You probably already know this because we've had so many conversations. But in the hot season, in the peak seasons, you want to be the last to get booked, so you can
Yeah.
charge what you want. In the off season, you want to be the first to get booked. What are some things that you think you did right that most people do wrong, or
Mm.
intuitively would do wrong?
Honestly, the time. Like I'm just one person, right? I had some help in terms of building. Like you helped for one day, Edward helped for one day, but I sat there with a speaker and built every single piece of furniture in that house. I didn't care if it was 3 a.m. I was not checking the clock. I slept when I slept, but it's just speed. That's what I was doing right. Right? To get that listing up in 2 weeks, it could have been faster with what I know now, but I still look back and say it was impressive for my first time. And like the timeline was supposed to be like February 15th. I'll get it up if
Yeah.
everything goes okay. But it was kind of like, fuck it, bro. Let's get it done for February.
hmm In For you specifically, right? Because
Hmm.
everyone's a little bit different. Like when in the beginning of the call, I said that when you were curious about things, you genuinely ask questions,
Hmm.
and some people when they're curious or have a question about something, they genuinely like, they don't ask. How are you different in that regard that led you to understanding Airbnb as deeply as you do now?
I think a lot of it has to do with letting go of ego. A lot of people don't want to ask these questions just because they'll think they'll sound stupid. And believe me, I know some of the questions I've asked you are so stupid. Like you probably listen to them and you're like, bro, this is so obvious. Why are you even asking this? But it's like
hmm
even if I kind of know the answer, if I'm not 100% sure, I paid for the program, bro. I'm gonna ask you the question, right? Like that's the reason I asked for your help, right?
hmm
So I think that's the big difference in between like people who don't ask the questions and people who will fire away every single question on earth, even if they technically know the answer.
hmm If you were to get a new listing up and running, or if you're starting from scratch, what would you have done differently?
Ooh, that's a good question. I wouldn't be so hasty with ordering furniture. I have some extra furniture that I'm not gonna be using. That's just sitting in a storage unit collecting dust right now. And sitting in the boiler room as well. I'd make sure to get king beds from the get-go. And ooh. So something I would do differently, I'd try to find a newer place so that I don't have to put in fire alarms, smoke detectors, CO detectors, things like that. So
Mhm.
I would have furnished that place a lot earlier if I didn't have to do that because I didn't know if it was the right place or not
Mhm.
until those things were installed and I knew it couldn't pass a fire inspection.
Yeah. What's life like now that you're an Airbnb host?
Like
Mhm.
it kind of runs itself. Obviously, there's things you need to do every few days. Spend an hour, sometimes every day. Spend like 20, 30 minutes looking through things, responding to guests that my automated thing it wasn't really doing right, or if a guest has a little issue, right? There's nothing crazy that's changed, but also being able to leave to somewhere and go to Calgary whenever I want and just block off that day, that's game changing. Like I went on a vacation and I didn't pay for a place to stay because someone else paid for that place for that month kind of thing.
Mhm.
So that's been the biggest like thing that's changed. Being able to go to a different city and not have to pay for a place to stay.
When we talk about like running your business,
Hmm.
out after you've set up the property, out after you've set up the automations, now that you're running the business on a day to day, what's the most amount of time you've spent on it?
Not even more than an hour. Like there's not much to do, right?
What did
It's
you do
already
right? What did you do right, I guess, that allows you to run your business for less than an hour a day?
putting the systems in place. I heard this quote where I'll try to turn it into Airbnb where it's I'm the business owner, not the cleaning manager. I'm the business owner, not the text responder, right? So setting up the systems in place is the most important part so that you can actually enjoy the business and look over the business rather than being inside a certain part of the business where you can't see the other side because you're focused on one part and it all
Yeah,
just starts collapsing internally.
100%. That's huge, bro. That's very huge. Systems in place. What from you? Like, what are the biggest systems that you've learned from the program to allow you to automate almost everything?
Hospitable for one, right? If I just set up hospitable by myself, I would have just set it up to send a welcome message. But in the program, it shows like how to answer certain questions. Like if when they say the word Wi-Fi, it'll immediately send them a text like, "Hey, this is what the Wi-Fi password is. This is what this is." If they ask a question about throwing away garbage, it'll say, "Hey, this bin right here." So
Mm,
that's been a big part that the program taught me that I wouldn't even have thought of.
for you and your success, bro. What I want you to do, bro. I want you to pull up screenshots right now. Do you have any screenshots of like your biggest booking?
Yes, I do. I can get them for you instantly.
Yeah. All right, bro. You meet all these claims that you're making money on Airbnb. I need to see screenshots.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You're
Perfect.
making all these claims that you're making money on Airbnb. We need to see screenshots.
July 3 to July 6, 2,800 something.
That's not bad. I think we can do better.
You want better?
I want better. What do you have?
Okay. I'll give you a bit better. July 10 to 13, 3,400.
How much is that a night? That's 3 nights. That's like a
That's
what?
3 nights. So
11 night?
yeah,
11.
in profit about 1,000 a night.
Wow. You can do better though.
I think I can do a bit better. July 6 to 10, 4 nights, 4,356.
Damn. That's 4 nights.
4 nights.
Dude, one booking covers all your costs.
Quite literally. The first booking covered all my costs. The rent is 2,700.
That's insane.
So everything other after July 3 to 6, profit.
Wow.
Everything.
Dude, you can make like 20K in profit.
Easily, bro. Easily.
I think you will.